Guys, you know that feeling you get in the morning after a big night out? Because our friends at ZBiotics are here to help. ZBiotics, pre-alcohol probiotic drink, is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. Invented by PhD scientists, designed to tackle tough mornings the night after drinking. Here's how this works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct that goes to your gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol creates an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly. ZBiotics pre-alcohol is perfect for those who always have their health in mind and are looking to master the balance of work and play. So I want you to level up your recovery, and I want you to do it today. I'll get you 15% off your first order at checkout. All you got to do is click on the link in the description. Plus, ZBiotics offers a 100% money-back guarantee. If you are not satisfied for any reason, they will refund all of your money, no questions asked. UFC 155 pounds. There is a glaring and blinking light. I mean, it's begging people to look, and it's important that you do. All right. What the hell's going on at 155 pounds is solely based on the idea that guys in the division of 155 pounds do not want to weigh 155 pounds. It's important. There was a year. The year was called 1998. There's a sports organization known as the NCAA. 3 wrestlers had died within the same season. A wrestling season is small. It's 3 months, 4 months. And they had all died cutting weight. Now later, we found out they were all taking something called creatine when they locked themselves in a sauna, and the correlation between creatine, dehydration, and ultimately the death. Story for another day, but the point is, wrestler and wrestling, a sport that was notorious for weight cutting, for trying to lose weight through water weight and dehydration. 3 people in one season, so 3 in this little small period of time, died, and wrestling knew it's not our fault. Weight cutting's not bad. This doesn't look good. So wrestling knew that the NCAA cared so little about them and was going to put so little emphasis into looking out and investigating and getting to the bottom of it, that wrestling itself must come up with a cure. And what wrestling did, they added 7 pounds to every weight, right there mid-season. Right there that day. If you wrestled at 118 pounds, you now wrestle at 126 pounds. If you wrestled in my weight class of 190 pounds, we will now put you on the scale 197 pounds. Everybody gets spotted 7 pounds. And nothing about that as I go back or I hear other people that were around that time. I'm on Google and I'm going down a rabbit hole and something fun to do. Nowhere is there an article about somebody who would have done well but didn't because they changed the weights. Well, this guy, he would have been national champion, but they added 7 pounds. Well, this guy, man, he was just primed to be an All-American, but then they added 7 pounds. The exact same guys that were going to do the exact same thing at this weight, all equally and against their will, had 7 pounds put to it and finished in that exact same order. And one championship did something similar. And I can't cite it for you perfectly, but it almost perfectly is what I just said. One championship one day comes in and moves all their weight. So their welterweight, known as 170, their welterweight gets called middleweight. So their welterweight was 185 pounds. That's how I'm attempting to say it. They kept the word welterweight, but they weighed them in at 185. And their middleweights, those 85-pounders, they put them on the scale at 205 pounds. And there was some dehydration, and there were some issues, there were some things that they were trying to overcome, but they bumped everybody up. That isn't going to happen here. We're not going to come in and swoopingly take everybody and force them to go up a weight class. But what I am sharing for you And while it would not be an absolute, what I am sharing for you is your results and your rankings would remain the same. Like there's not a piece of the pie of the skill that is owed to the person's in the film, what you would call it nutrition, you would call it size or the advantage they get because they cut weight. It's none of those things are true. And it's very much a North American phenomenon. Of all the sports out there where they weigh you in before they let you play, the number one sport is wrestling. And of the wrestlers that cut weight, 90-some% are from America. It is not how they do it in the Eastern Bloc countries. Those guys get up, maybe they're a kilo over. They had dinner last night. It's no big deal. They get up the day of the scale, put some sweats on, maybe they jump a little rope, burn a sweat, get 2-3 pounds off, jump on the scale. Whereas the American hasn't had dinner in a month and is frail and he's hurting. It's just a little bit of an American concept. If I would do good at 170, then I should be a 55-pounder. If I should be a 55-pounder, put me down for featherweight. That's how the American mindset often works. And I'm bringing this to you because all of a sudden, Ilia Topuria is having to respond to things that Khabib said. Khabib has comes out and said, I'm going to take Islam and I'm going to get him out of this division. If we stay here, we fight Artem Sarukian, like we agreed to do, who's ranked number 1 and who has beaten Charles. Charles has beaten all the rest of you. So as sportsmen that do the right thing, that's what we're going to do. Or we're going to go to 170, in which case we will fight anybody. And I appreciate very much Khabib's position. Let me change the words, but tell you Khabib's position. He represents a guy named Islam. He cares greatly about this guy, and he thinks he's the best fighter in the world. And this guy has never lost at 155 pounds. Don't correct me. Please don't take the time to correct me. He's never lost at 155 pounds. He's proven that he's actually the best. He's a little bit annoyed that another guy is coming in from a different division who, while doing great in that division, has not proved himself at all in this division. This, the one that Khabib's pupil has done so well in. And one of Khabib's remedies, while ignoring this guy, who's done a great job, but he didn't do it here, one of Khabib's remedies is to take his guy up a weight class. Doesn't matter who the opponent, as long as they got the belt, try their hand there. You're going, okay, but what you're describing for Islam to do, or potentially to do, or that you would like him to do, is exactly what Ilia's trying to do. What you're describing and suggesting Islam do next is exactly what Ilia is in the process of doing. And I just think the argument gets a little bit tough. Like, it doesn't sound that bad. For me, talking about Ilia Topuria, you got an undefeated champion of the world who's now in your weight class. Obviously, he's the number 1 contender. But for other guys to go, well, but he hasn't proved it here. Matter of fact, look, he's got no ranking here. He's got no wins over anybody here. We don't discount what he did, but he didn't do it here. Okay, that's a little bit weak, but kind of hard to argue against. So I do hear you, but we're now going to take that exact same argument for ourselves when we go up to 170 pounds. And that's where it does get a little bit complicated. I will just tell you, and nobody's wrong, you have a room full of legitimate tough guys, and they're bickering over doing legitimately tough stuff. Like, we don't have a chicken amongst us. But, and there is a but, if we can do it, but they can't do the same thing, I will tell you, when you want to talk about legacy, one thing that's really important to do is to never have a match in your past that you avoided. And I'll tell you another really important thing for legacy is when you're collecting hardware, even if it's not for his world title, there's not a lot of world champions floating around divisions. Generally, a guy makes it to a world championship and he starts losing in record time to where they don't renew his contract, or he steps aside because he knows that mountain is just too big to climb. but you don't usually get an opportunity to bump into a former world champion because there's not a lot of them in the bracket. So in this case, you got a world champion who's calling you out, who's in the bracket. No matter what your argument is, you're going to need 3 because he just brought 3 strong parts with him. And if you want to know how you're going to be looked upon, it is important that you took the hardest fights when you could take them. And no matter how good you are with the words, if a world champ says, come play with me, and you say no down the road, reflecting back on, that's a problem.